Hello, hello, and welcome to another Watercolor Wednesday. This is your first time here. My name's Gabriel Stockton, and this is Watercolor Wednesday. We have been doing these for a minute. We started these right before COVID, and we're still here. Wow, 4 years later, and waiting for some people. Hey, welcome. Put in the comments where you're watching from, and yeah, if you are catching this on the replay, I'm glad you made it here. Right over here, oh, right over there, we are talking today about watercolor and gouache. And I've got this really fun spot. I have to wet my whistle. Hey, welcome, Tim. Bum, bum, bum. There's Tim. Hey, good to see you, Tim. Over in Little Rock. Good to see you. We are talking gouache today. Now, some of you know that I'm a Daniel Smith brand ambassador, and I have the wonderful opportunity to take my mixes that I was doing in watercolor. I could also do them in gouache. So the question is, why now gouache? Well, it's another medium that is water soluble, so they work hand in hand. The interesting thing, too, and we'll find out today as I'm doing some painting, is the actual gouache stays true to the color. So we know, and we've been learning. Hello, Chuck from Texas. Excited to hear more about gouache. I'm glad you are. So the gouache is made with the same binder as the watercolor. So they work really well. Now, I took a workshop with a good friend, Dan Marshall. And Dan Marshall opened up my eyes because I used to be that artist that had like a little bit of this company, a little bit of that company. And he just showed me that some of these have different binders and some of them don't play well. So I always wondered, like, why was there some like inconsistencies in some of the paint. So there's some paint out there that has gum arabic, and they also have blackberry honey, and it keeps it more moldable. Okay, so in certain areas, that is very helpful. Where you might be in a dry climate or a wet climate, okay. But as far as using the Daniel Smith gouache in the watercolor, they're both the same binder. So I was just getting to why should we add it? I did a demo for Daniel Smith not too long ago where I did a painting with watercolor, and then there were some colors I used at the very end with gouache because it stays true. The watercolor, we've learned with the evaporation with the water, um, it's doing the lighter 10 to 20%, right? And so I've got this fun subject, and on my way to the gym, there's like this new, it's like, it seems like it's like a like a vending machine for adults. There are these cars, and it's up in this big tower thing, and there's an elevator goes up and grabs the car and brings it down. And I don't even think people I don't know, it's not open yet. They just barely started putting cars in there. And so this is an early morning photo about 5 o'clock in the morning when I head to the gym. So every morning I go to the gym. That is my hardest part of the day, is getting out of bed and making it to the gym. Once you get to the gym, right, then you just pick some things up and you put them down, right? So I found this spot, and let me switch the camera. So I'm going to disappear for just a second. Let me get today's subject matter. So hang on. Bum, bum, bum. You should still hear me. Dun, dun, dun. And we're going to go to the face cam. And we're going to turn that on now. Right here. And all right. Very nice. As you can see, I am a PC guy. Unless someone wants to give me an Apple and then teach me how to work. So I'm going to get out my board. And some of you have been around long enough that you've seen some of these sketchbooks. So this sketchbook has been just for gouache and watercolor. So here's one plein air piece I did. This is this cool sculpture thing. It's not an actual like submarine thing. It's just made to grab your eye as you go down the road. There's a diving school. It's the Oceanside Diving School. And so I was there plein air painting. Some of you have already seen this, so bear with us. And this was a mural. I took bits and pieces and made this wonderful piece. And we got Tim here. Bum, bum, bum. I've been using dried Daniel Smith gouache, wetted again, easily mighty like more than watercolor. Yes, I'm so glad you just said that, because I literally was just showing the wife a palette here. So there's 2 ways you can do this. Actually, there's 3. You can get a palette. So these typically come with watercolor, and it opens up like this. And I have 2 brushes in here. I have a nice specialty brush from Escoda. Joseph Escoda made me this brush. He thought it was funny that I was using my daughter's makeup brush. And so he made me this nice little flat, which a lot of gouache people use flats. And I have this nice little travel brush. So I will be using these 2 brushes. So check it out. Mr. Tim, you are correct. You can use this, and I can get a spritzer, and I can spritz these just like watercolor. Okay, so those now are getting activated just like watercolor. These are dry. Okay, this actually comes out, which is super rad. Dun, dun, dun. Just got a little bit of paint right there holding it in. So this was my first gouache palette, and yeah, we won't worry about pulling it out. It's all good. So yes, these work just like watercolors. That's what I love about watercolors. TSA will not care if you walk through security with one of these. This is a water soluble, and it's not a big deal. Okay. The other type of palette you can get is one of these. And it has this seal tight, and these keep them pretty darn freshy. Okay. I have by accident sometimes left this sitting out, and you can put some clove oil in here or spray some. So I've had this thing now for a little more than 6 months, and I don't see any molding going on. So thank goodness to this seal tight. There's like this rubber. See that? It's kind of like a so this is plastic, right? And then this is like some the word's not coming to me. Gosh darn it. But it seals tight. It seals nice and tight. I did goof, and I think this one came off in my backpack, and but it seems to still be just fine. Now you can get some of these that also come with like a little cup for water. I really like those. Silicone. Thank you, Tim. Silicone. Come on, Gabriel. And like a gasket. You're right, brother. And thank you. So we can use our watercolors, and so you all see my watercolor palette, and at first I kept my brushes separate, and now not so much, and I think it's just personal preference. If you've got extra brushes and stuff, great. Let's look at the subject matter for today. As you can see, I've been picking really cool, fun stuff in here to paint. Look at this. This is an actual place. And I had fun by putting the robot and the kid and the police cars. We did that one here, I think. And there we got this one. And today we're going here. So today, God willing, my battery doesn't die. So this is today's scene. And this kind of reminds me of a few different things. Like, it almost reminds me of like maybe pre-Tron. Remember Tron? Here's the outfit I was talking about. See this thing? There's these cars in there, and there's this elevator that goes up. And I think you could just probably buy this. I mean, this would be impressive, right? Maybe buy a car online. This self-driving car comes, picks you up, and then there you go. You drive off with your own car. Um, you know, that's kind of my story with the situation, and there could be something else going on in here, but right now it's very mysterious and very, very different. Chuck Davis, do you do washes like wet onto wet? I sure do, brother. I sure do. I do what's called mixing wet into wet. So yeah, that was the there's like a 10-cent question, and then there's a 50-cent question. That was a really good question. And these become so much better when y'all participate. So thank you so much. I am gonna plug this bad boy in because wow, all of a sudden it's iPad is just gonna just decide to be at 10%. I really like these big honkers from Cheap Joe's. Could you imagine how much fun you can have with one of these? And I've been testing out this new pencil. It's a self non-clicker. I mean, right there. See, right now it's not sticking out, but if you get it started right about there, you don't even have to do this thing. Okay, remember doing, I quit using these because they kept breaking, but it self loads. So this is the company. Bum, bum, bum. If that's coming on, and if someone reminds me after I load the video to post a link, I will. All right. So with these two, I could pretty much do all kinds of good stuff. All right. So the sketchbook doesn't keep sliding on me. I'm gonna tape it down. How do you like that for production team? This is just me, myself, and I, and you folks. And, this is how we roll. I might just pull it up on the phone, except for we might get some messages during our broadcast, but it's all good, right? That way you can see maybe too. It's just it's a real neat deal, right? And look how mysterious that even looks. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to pull this off. I did not practice for this. I'm such a crazy person. Like, just throwing myself out there like that. But, so what do we have? We have a street scene, right? And right off the get-go, we have a low horizon. Okay, so this is a horizontal painting. I can start with the Sheraton. That's kind of over here. That's a hotel. Just on the other side, it's the gym. And then there's this thing over here. So this kind of reads as a line of communication. Right here, this thing. Everything is in cahoots in relationship to it. Our road comes like this, like that. Okay. And then this kind of comes here, like that. That's my road. I just need some basic shapes. We've got that mountain. This is right in here. And it's going to come up like this, right in like that. Now, right in about here somewhere, our building comes into effect. Right now, I'm just going to draw a rectangle on its side. Now, I'm not all about drawing for this one. I'm all about getting into some gouache, into some watercolor. And so here we go. We've got our building there. Do you think I'm going to draw every little car in there? No, I'm going to do some abstraction. So when you have a painting like this, the more that you could simplify, I much rather take a small commitment on one of these little projects, okay, than try to do a full sheet painting. I don't even know if I'm that fully invested in it. I think it's cool, but let's just paint it small and see if it even turns out. And if it turns out to be something decent, then yeah, maybe it could be something more. And we'll go back over here to the Sheraton. A little more information here, and there's like some palm trees. And look at that. We've got our basic nuts and bolts. See that? Now I got that crazy glare right now. I apologize. There is one little thing that we need to bring in, and it's this little section here. Dun, dun, dun. And there's this. And let's now get a little more detail in here. That's about it. That is it. And I'm sticking with that. Hey, we got Sally here. What's Sally had to say? Good evening from Brookshire County, Massachusetts. Signing in a little late. No worries. You're doing great. Let me know in the chat over there what you're painting right now or even this week. I'm kind of curious. Is it watercolor? Do you want to even try gouache? I'm kind of curious. So with this, I'm going to start with some watercolors and I am going to map in our wonderful sky there. And so I said I was going to use some of these. Where'd he go? There he is. Dun, dun, dun. Got my mop brush. So to create this wonderful sky, I'm going to grab some of this lavender over here. And I'm going to grab some kind of this orangey kind of color. I'm going to gray it out. I got 2 bowls of water here. One that's super messy and one that's nice and clean. So let's add some orange. And I said a little bit of orange. And we're going to add some more blue to that. And I'm going to get it here in a second. How much combo I want. There we go. Nice. Now we're cooking. Yeah, let's put that in. Cool. So I need something that kind of looks like this wonderful gray. Now these little gouache paintings, they are just gonna be studio works. I'm not creating anything here today to like frame. And you know, bum bum bum. Dun, dun, dun. This I gotta just tape down this palette. It's running away from me. All right, there we go. I'm not too worried about making a perfect painting here, because you know today's painting isn't about making an award winner. Okay, sometimes you've got to allow yourself to play. All right, I'm very keen on playing. I'm even putting in another thing of blue on the top of that. Man, that window is really bringing in some light. Let me kill this other. I got some nice lights, but it's so lovely out today with some sun finally. Hey, there we go. That's quite nice. All right, so we need this nice fog gray in here, like this. Look at that. And I can lift just a little bit of this. Hey, we got some more people hopping on there. And it's Debbie. Hello, Debbie. We got Nancy West. Hello, Nancy. And we've got Doc Day. Boats. Still painting boats. Local marinas. Yeah. And we've got Tim. I'm painting robots, trying out new metallic gouache colors. Ooh, very nice. Chuck, I'm currently practicing watercolor landscapes in Galveston Wharf in 1885 using a watercolor from that time period as a reference. Nice. And we've got Carl Jacob. Hey, I'm from Carl, Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Welcome, Carl. And on water. So I'd love to paint water. Right on. And Nancy is painting a 59 Chevrolet. Cool, cool. Very nice. So we're going to move in now to this lovely little background area. So first of all, that's nice green stuff. There's some green stuff. So this is still watercolor. Okay. My first part of this painting is all going to be watercolor, and then, my friends, I'm going to start putting in this lovely gouache. So this is a fun mixture I like to use. This is a Daniel Smith's Green Appetite with the wonderful Moon Glow. That is one of my faves. So some of you know I like to paint in the direction that this thing is coming. So this is a mountain hillside on the other side of this deal. Okay, so it needs to paint on an angle. So that little mountain part picks up over here. So we've got to get these nice darks in. If you don't get these nice darks in, it's not going to feel like that early morning. Okay. So we got that lovely guy. So this next one is in the distance. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to break down the chroma. So I'm adding some lavender. And now this should look kind of spooky-ish, like this should look like foggy green stuff. All right, let's see how it comes along. And I'm gonna go ahead and drop this into here, but I'm still leaving a nice little edge. Then next part, I'm grabbing some Chinese white, putting it into that mixture. Do you notice it's the same mixture? I'm not doing like paint by numbers. Everything is mixing into itself. This should be a little bit lighter, and if it's too dark, I could just go like this. Boop. And then this last section gets just a titch darker here. All right, so we've got that Sheridan right there. I could probably even drop a little bit of purpley color. So this is for our good friend Chuck Davis. Dropping in some of this purpley here. This is mixing wet into wet on my actual paper. All right. Moving forward. So we got some other comments here. Cindy, hi Gabe. In Ohio, it is 60 degrees today. Oh my goodness. And Chuck Davis, are you using a quill brush? No. This is a signature brush by Joseph Zavogovich. So it's a mop brush, and it's the Aquario series. There you see the Z for the Z. The Z's there. So this is also an Aquario here. And everything's worn off. But this would say Aquario Number 14, Escoda. This is just a signature brush. I'm painting smaller, so I'm using a smaller mop with a little bit longer point. I prefer this one, especially plein air painting, because this gold shines into my retinas. Yeah, to each is to their own. If you want the nice gold, go for the Joseph Bukovich signature. So moving forward, great question. Love the great questions. All right, I'm going to mix up this next batch. I'm gonna get some of this Quinn Gold Deep, and I'm gonna use some of this Chinese white. And I'm making this warm yellowishy color, and that's somewhere right in here. So even though you see blue, guess what? I'm gonna use that for gouache. The blue will be with the gouache, but for this part, I need a base coat. And so you could do all this with gouache too. You wouldn't have to, if you have already gouache, you could just use your gouache. You don't have to use. I'm gonna mix some gray titanium in here. Look at that. Now we're gonna mix some blue. The right blue. If you mix the wrong blue, you guess what you're gonna get? Green. We do not want a green road. Look at, there's our road. We got that little center divider. Look at that. Nice little road there. Very nice. Da, da, da. All right, moving forward. We've got the Sheridan. We need to get that in. See this red? That gets to get done with the gouache. Okay, it's a little bit warmer in the photo. Okay, so don't always rely on your photo. Look at your painting. For the next color, I'm going to do some buff titanium. So I can put down this first coat. So we've got to get rid of whitey. Like, we've got to have this nice little base painting in here. You know, that's what oil painters do. And so some of you oil painters that are watching right now, you're like, oh, I already do this. But we're doing this with watercolors. Some of my friends that do watercolors, oil paints, they don't take their oil paints on their vacation. They take watercolor. And they've learned they could do a nice study, a really nice study, and then come home and then do a nice oil painting. So look at that. We got a nice little green there. It's almost got too much chroma to it. So let's drop in some neutral tint. Okay. There we go. This is all right next to the freeway there. Drop in a little more neutral tint right in here. And I need to gray out this, so we don't really need those hard edges. We can subdue this so it doesn't grab our attention. And, well, we've got to address this last thing here. And, you know, I could take cerulean or a little bit of cobalt and start putting in some of this blue here, leaving some whites. And there's a nice blue in here. like this, and like that, and like this, and there's that car, right? Like so. And then this is all nice and cool in here. And this is the part I'm going to now. If anybody has any questions, this would be a great time. Because I am going to do this guy. Now, people want to know, Gabriel, what do I use? Well, you want one that goes high and low, and you want one that you could press for it to be cool and hot. So watch, I'll be using all right, we are officially bone dry. And this one goes away. And guess what? This guy gets to come out to play. And hopefully we have enough colors here. Because that way I don't have to pour out more. So Daniel Smith now, I believe, has 672 of the gouache colors now. And I think it's doing pretty good. There's also some shimmers and there's some other colors out there. Let me move this up. There we go. And so if you are a little weary, the little gateway is to get this little guy, the titanium white. If you get that one first, that's your best bet to then just add to your watercolors, okay? So you could take this and you can add it to watercolors and your mixes will start looking like this, okay? See those nice opaque yummy colors? Super nice, right? All right, so let's move forward. Dun, dun, dun. And I know I had my brushes. Here we are. I'm going to use these two brushes and one other. This little guy here. Okay. So these ones, they're going to get a lot of brush time. Therefore, I'm gonna probably wear these guys out eventually because they're getting a lot of brush hours. So I'm gonna get into this buff titanium and break up some of these windows in here. So there's different windows within our little lovely painting here. And this is where you can start to get a little bit tighter. some of you that like to get tight and controlled, you could also use a brush that has like a like an angle on it. And we're gonna get in here. Let's build up our, this is the parking lot of the space right in here. And you could start building some really nice shapes. The other thing I have in my hand is a nice little paper towel to pull off any wet after I've rinsed my brush. There's some nice dark greens. Here, Chuck Davis, you asked, and here it is. We're going to put some green in here. And to me, this green is just a little too much chroma to it. So I'm going to add a little bit of the moon glow onto it. And this is kind of wet. It's definitely got some nice wet action. There is a tree right in here. And I can do this with the flat brush, or I can do this with the round. Okay, I can make these little trees. Really, I'm just making these nice little there's things that are in front of things that's making things glow. And that's the way I could explain it, is these nice darks are here. And look at this palm tree. And then this palm tree. And then we've got some darks down in here. And we've got to have those darks to build up our scene. There's this dark here. And let's go ahead and play with that in there. Look at that. We're starting to build our scene. Now, you could play around and go back and forth with some nice lights. Okay. And I hope you're all still there. I haven't seen any comments in a while, so God willing, we are still live. And oh, we are right on. Carl says, does gouache dry lighter like watercolor? No, Carl, that is the joy of this gouache. So gouache was designed, Carl, so that it would photograph like uber well. Okay, so remember the good old days? There was like movie posters, and you would hope that maybe you can get your hand on some cool like movie posters, how about Raiders of the Lost Ark or Gremlins, right? All those cool movies that we enjoyed as kids, Gremlins and Star Wars, right? And so gouache photographs really well. And that's what I was saying earlier, is that this medium holds true. And it builds really well on top of all these other colors. Okay. All right, we've got some nice little lavenders in here, like so. Look at this nice little wonderful construction or architectural lines. This medium is so forgiving that you can easily correct just like oil painters do. Oil painters correct a lot of strokes. So don't feel intimidated with this medium, thinking you have to get it right the first time. That is far, far from the truth. If you're telling yourself that you have to get it perfect, you are the only one. This is a really cool medium that is very, very forgiving. I mean, look, I can go back in here and put some of these nice little whites in here, right in there. Even this road, right? We got the white lines. Dun, 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 dun. And look at that. I can make them not quite perfect because guess what? The light isn't out. And so therefore it's gonna look a little broken up. Let's do this line here and then this line here. Okay. Then I gotta rinse this brush and it looks like we got another comment. 2 seconds. My hands are full. I'm really curious to see what you have to say. Chuck Davis. Does it dry slower than watercolors? Actually, just the opposite. I think it dries faster. It also depends on how thick, right? How thick we're putting down pigment. If you're putting down like thick pigment that is not, giving itself a lot of dry time, you might be running yourself into a situation, right? And so, but the answer to your question, does it dry slower than watercolors? No, it dries probably faster. Unless you're putting it on super thick, okay? Great question, buddy. Thank you. Hey, are you the same Chuck Davis that comes on our lives at Daniel Smith? I'm just curious. We have our lives that we do every week with Daniel Smith, and you can join us. Sometimes I'm one painting, sometimes I'm one helping answer questions in the chat or over at Facebook. The answer was yes, the same guy. All right, next time, throw a shout out, say, hey, Gabriel. And yeah. Look at that road. Holy mackerel. It just came with just one flick of the wrist. Cool times, right? Bum, bum, bum. They are very informational. You are so right. You are so right. He's talking about the Thursday lives and also the Friday demos. If you want to join us, you can join us at Facebook when we go live, or you can join us at the website, danielsmith.com, and you'll see under community, there's a link you could click on for Thursdays and Fridays. Let's get in some darker lines on our building. We'll come over here and put these cool, I don't know if you want to call them pinstriping or just structural lines. Daniel Smith does have the black available, but I prefer the moon glow. I'm just a moon glow freak of nature. Just in general, it's a cool color. So we're building up this structure. There's no rush, okay? I would even suggest that you would, if you're painting this with me, is this would be the very last thing that you want to finish. Okay, you want to, even I'd much rather you come over here to the Sheraton and put in that red right there for the Sheraton before you start putting on, all this detail over here. Sometimes it's good to allow things to like resonate in your spirit until you have a full kind of like understanding of how to paint that. A lot of art brushstrokes overlap. What I'm saying is that when you paint a thing and it's almost the same stroke, you're comfortable in making that stroke, right? And when you make that stroke, you're going to find another stroke to make in another painting. And that's why some people can say, I've been painting for, 2 hours and 44 years. And basically what they're saying is they've got so many brush miles that one painting took so many more paintings. I'm going to put this foreground a little bit darker right here. Do you see how that's happening? So we're going to drop in some of this goodness. Maybe a little bit more there. I need to flatten down this space. It's just what I saw in my mind's eye, Sometimes it's really hard for me to teach what goes on in my head, per se, versus, some of you do so great on just watching me paint that you get it. And that creates great character. It also creates great artists. Some of you are the kind of people that you learn by watching, and some of you are the people that learn by reading. And once you know who you are, you have accelerated your way to learn. And some of us float around in the world not knowing how to do either one. And I think with my learning disability, that was a factor. I could do this all day long as a kid. I could paint you and draw you some really cool little pictures. But what I couldn't do was tell you what I just read 5 or 10 minutes ago and be tested on it in an open book. Is that just pathetic? But I've learned with the grace of God that I could be a lot kinder to myself. And definitely there's some light right here. There's this light coming across right there, and I could build it up even brighter. That's the lovely thing about this gouache. Some of you, I might ruin you today. Some of you might leave watercolor and just want to do gouache painting. And I think you could do both. I think it's really fun. If you're just now coming on, I did show the sketchbook. You'll just have to watch the replay and see the paintings I did prior. Or you might have been following me on the internet. So check it out. You could do stuff like this, friends. So there's some windows down there at that Sheraton, right? So I could do this. There's windows here. And there's windows here and here. See that? Check this out. Now, remember this color right here? That was the buff titanium. And I can now make these windows going across. And make these windows. So you can build these lovely paintings up. Don't think you have to paint this like a watercolor. Paint this like a gouache, alright? How are we doing on time? Holy mackerel! I have how many? I have 4 minutes. Ooh. Well, we'll see. I'm enjoying this. I might stay on a few more minutes longer. That glow, I'm going to drop a little yellow in there. And there's another glow. So this is yellow deep, and this is yellow. This right here is Hansa Yellow Light. This by far is my favorite color to make greens with blues. As you've seen on my palette, this is Hansa Yellow Medium and Hansa Yellow Deep. This here is Pyro Orange, Pyro Red, Pyro Scarlet, and then this is Alizarin Crimson. Okay. Bum, bum, bum. Hi, what brush are you using? This brush? Or these brushes? I'm sorry, I didn't see when the comment come up. I am so sorry, Ludwig. Let me know. Is it the Chinese one or the square? Or these two are. This is a Escoda Ultimo by the Black Bristles. It's synthetic. This is a Escoda Perla. And then this brush is from my good friend Michael Seleve. It's a solo liner. You can find it at watercoloronline.com. I don't know if you could see that. And I've just worn out the lettering. I apologize. Watercolor Online. Yeah. The Chinese one. Yep. Time always flies when painting. I agree, Cindy. All right, let's get into the colors. And let's have fun with it. So I literally will mix right on this board, right there. And I'll literally grab some other color. And I'm making some grayish, bluish color. So there's these little cars in here. And there's another little car. They almost look like titter shoes. We got another little car. Am I making these like uber perfect right now? No. This is a nice, what I like to call a sketch. This is a painting that would not go into a competition. This is not a painting, for some of you that came on later, this is not a painting that it's in my sketchbook, okay? If someone did come by and say, hey, can I buy that? If I like it, yes, maybe. It would have to be a really significant reason why, like maybe they work here, okay? I think that's a good reason. to let it go. There's a darker blue in here, right? There's some white. So I can still save some whites, or we can add some whites. All right, we're going to go a couple minutes over. If you're down for it, right on. If you got to go, I totally understand, but there's still 12 of you strong. And thank you so much for encouraging my behavior. Let's put these polls in. That's why I like liner brushes. You can make these uber confident brush strokes. There's gonna be. I'm gonna put another light in here. There's another one. There's a couple other. We need verticals that get taller as they come closer to us, and we need some horizontals to make distance in our paintings. So just as much as these we need just as much as these. Let's go ahead and put that other light in. He's right here. And this one needs a little bit of light in there. And we're going to do the same thing. A little bit of glow. See that? Please don't try to do this perfect. Please keep it nice and loose. If you do this exercise, I literally would not spend, seriously, I'm not going to spend like 3 hours on this painting. This is called a sketch for a reason. And for that reason, we are saving our insanity. Okay. Here's some wording in here, but all I need is what's called calligraphy. Okay. And then this is starting to glow really nicely. There's some whites right in here. There is a nice little red, just a small little red right there, just to add a little extra. In here are some little red and orange. This is under construction still, so it's got these little pylon things, which I think that's what makes it kind of neat. Some are crooked and been ran over, you know. Some of you have ran over these. Sadly, you're on your phone. Hopefully, then you decided to try to say, right? Maybe I'm speaking from self-experience. Look at this. We put the nice thick orangey down, and guess what I can do? Now I can put the reflector stuff on there. Yay! I think that's what also attracted me is these little reflector things to this. Don't make these perfect. Here's one that got ran over. It's laying down. I'm not kidding. Look. Do you see it? Look, it's laying down right there. Too funny. And we got some other little white little bits and pieces in here. I'm just looking to the reference photo to see where some of them are. I'm not holding myself to making it like the photo. If I do some brilliant editing, I'm going to have a good painting. Okay. Look, it's looking nice and dark because it's getting darker here. I'll turn a light on here in a second and we'll zoom in. And you know, this is a happy little piece. You know, just a matter of minutes. You can have your own. Let's do this car. a little bit of oh geez, I gotta turn this light on. It's too dark, right? Dun, dun, dun. There we go. It's a little too bright, but I'm alright with it. I'll drop a little bit more white in this center of this yellow. And I'm not totally freaking out if it's not totally accurate. There's these little reflectors going this way. Bigger one there. Bigger one there. Too big. So let's get a little closer look at this thing. But before I do, I want to pull this out. And here we are. There's a reason why I put that nice dark. Look at that signature. It works, right? And then what I can do is I can put here 5 a.m. and we can put future. Oh, so sorry. Future. Carvana, if I'm even saying it right. They got their little logo of a car and a circle. Great. And why not? We put the date. 2/21/24. And there you have it, friends. We've got another one in the books. So trying to get the right light on it. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'm going to come on to camera. And if you have any questions, please ask away. If not, we will shut it down and we'll be back here next week. Hey, I really do appreciate everyone and their participation. It's really what makes it fun is all of you asking questions and being a part of Watercolor Wednesday. I'm very grateful for those of you that took the workshop. If you would like to join my email newsletter, I got one coming out here just shortly. I'll be talking about upcoming projects. I will be sharing a step-by-step painting that I just worked on. And oh, this thing, I didn't show this thing. So I had an artist friend challenge me to do this wonderful little barn painting here. It's got really bad lighting right now. If you go to my Instagram, you can see the sketch for it. I'll be posting the finish. There's one last thing I want to do to it. And yeah, take those challenges from your friends. You never know what might happen. And I am a big fan of meeting people and asking people, hey, take some pictures for me, send them. And half the time they're not the best photos, but I've been using my imagination. And a good example of that is this one. It was a really bad photo. And man, we've got this crazy light coming in. Sun's about to go down early today in San Diego. So look at this great guy with his dog. And wrapping up this puppy. Doing a nice big half sheet. All right. Well, thank you so much. Oh, hey, we do have a question here. We got Sally says, love the darks and lights in this one. In that barn challenge. Psh, yeah, that's why I hopped on it. Carl, thank you. I'm glad you're learning a lot. I do these. Hopefully, I learned something by sharing with you. And Chuck, the small group and ability to ask questions and the way you welcome questions makes it a lot of fun and educational. Hey, um, that's the way I think it should be. It's very organic and fun. If I go over to ChatGPT and try to figure out some fancy, smancy ways to say stuff to you in an ungenuine way, you're not getting a real person. Um, you know, I'm gonna leave on this is my friend Judah. Uh, he is a professional. Check this out, okay? He is a professional balloon sculptor. Okay, like what? So like when you would go to like the fair or to maybe like an event, and somebody would be like, "What would you like me to make out of a little balloon, there, young boy?" Like I want a sword. I want a dog. I want like now they're doing stuff like with Star Wars and big giant balloon sculptures, and like all kinds of cool stuff. And I said to him, um, we were having a little like lunch together, and I said, dude, how do you become so good at making those balloons? Because I was like, is there a balloon that you haven't made? Is there? He's like, you know, in order to become really good at balloon sculpture, you ready for it? You've got to pop a lot of balloons. I was like, what did you just say? In order to become a really good balloon sculptor, you've got to pop a lot of balloons. And in order for you to become a really good watercolor painter, you've got to add some good questions and you've got to make some bad paintings. I have a whole stack right over there. Not back here. Those are the good ones. Over here, they're just they're sad ones, and there might be some really bad ones on the back side of these good ones. And I think the other last thing of advice for today is never give up. And this is what you got to do too. Is I've never done this, but I just thought of it. It's really cool. You've got to keep your brushes wet. All right, you've got to paint. Have a great, wonderful week. I look forward to seeing you all maybe in social media land. If you want to get on that mailing list of getting that newsletter, go over to my website. The website is dun 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 dun. Bum 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 bum. Right here. GabrielStocktonFineArt.com. If you have any direct questions or anything you'd like to ask or purchase artworks, there's my email, info@GabrielStocktonFineArt. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week. That's not the one I want to show, or that one. That's the one. Watercolor Wednesday. I'll see you back here next week. Same day, same time. Have a wonderful day. And if you like this, go ahead and smash that like button. And sharing's caring. Take care. Look at that new green wall. So good. Take care. Well. Oh, there's one more comment. Tonal love, you made it. Thanks for stopping by. All right, take care. See you. Bye.